everyone, to Legion Gaming. I'm your host, Donnie, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Deucy.
Hello, everyone.
Deucy, how are you this fantastically wonderful weather evening?
Finally, after all these weeks. No, I'm excited to be talking about games again. I'm always excited. I look forward to it at the end of my work week.
I know. It's the one thing that we can do as adults that isn't really adulting. It's pretty great.
But with all this new good weather coming, I've been dodging the pollen. And I'm just thankful that I can be here without any allergies acting up.
I'm lucky I don't have allergies. I'm just very happy to have a nice sunny day, even though I should be out walking and all the good stuff.
Yeah.
That's cool. We get to talk about games when we have the door open to let the weather
We're walking
in.
our minds.
Yes. If only that worked in more capacities than it does.
Yeah.
But what we won't be walking into today is what we're talking about, which is our definitive Mega Man ranking. And today we're going to be ranking all of the Mega Man games from 1 through 11 and X through 8. And that's to say, it's to be one combined list. So this is going to be the definitive ranking, Deucy. This means that really no one can go against us.
Yeah, exactly.
Was heavily thought about.
We
put a lot of thought into it.
This is the final word on this.
This is the final word. So that means there's no more other podcasts. So that means when other people start to listen to us, we're like, oh yeah, those guys are right the whole time.
Yeah, and I've seen some others. I'm like, no, they're already wrong.
Exactly. Yeah. So maybe you'll have a different story to all the listeners out there. You might have a different story. You can always email us and let us know, or go on our Instagram and tell us how right we are or wrong we are. We don't know. We just know we're pretty close to being right on this one.
I'm just excited, like I said, because the last 2 episodes now have been a huge series in my history. Like first Resident Evil and now Mega Man.
Yeah, now we got Mega Man, which does occupy a pretty big part of our gaming lives, I would say. I mean, that's definitely one of the earliest Nintendo memories I have. And that series has lasted with us, for 34 years, which is also indicative of how crazy of a series it is that 34, actually what was the first release? 1987. So 37 years later, they're still making Mega Man games. Granted, not as many as they were, but it's still a series that people, are pining for and hope more come out.
Just when you think that he's dead, they come back with at least a collection.
Yeah, and that's usually
maybe not that new
enough.
one.
Yeah, but at this point, we'll talk about it too. But the collections pretty much have everything we can want except a new Mega Man game.
Yeah.
But before we get to all the nitty gritty of the Mega Man games, Deucy, what have you been playing lately?
Well, since I freed up my time from Close to the Sun being over, I kind of got into some sports games on the Switch. Really cheapo things, and I've been playing Retro Bowl. I got our buddy Mike hooked on that.
Yeah, if only we could get some residual royalty pays for that one. You convince him to buy it, even though I'm sure it's like $5 and you get like a penny.
I found randomly on sale for like $2. It's called Ultimate Racing 2D, I think it is, and it's the second one. It's a sequel to this game that I really loved a few years ago. It's a top-down classic racing game.
Yeah, it's like the off-road games, right? Like the super off-road games from back in the day, and Micro Machines.
But you have to actually pay attention to modern racing type or tropes like weather and your tires wearing down. And you go through a whole bunch of series. There's sports cars, there's trucks, there's Formula One. There's even goofy things like you're racing minis or you're racing forklifts and go-karts. Along the same sports lines, I got Super Mega Baseball 4. I think it's Super Mega Baseball.
I remember you showing because the bundle was pretty cheap.
Yeah, and I was like, shoot, fire this up. I'll get this portable because I really enjoyed the first one, and I think I played the second one a little on Xbox Game Pass. It's just a nice arcadey baseball game. The graphics have been getting better with each version, and just the depth of the franchise mode and stuff. You wouldn't think from a little cartoony looking game that it would be this in depth, but it's like any regular MLB game, and you even have to pay attention to like how your players are feeling and whether or not they're going to perform for your team or if they want to be traded. Mm-hmm. I also got Mario and Donkey Kong, like you got last week. I finally got that one. Was looking forward to it. I didn't realize that it was just a remake of the original.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's a really well done remake too.
Yeah, I really liked it back on the Game Boy, but I got sidetracked and it was the Game Boy, so I didn't really spend a whole lot of time with it. But it's nice to have it. It's technically still portable on the Switch, but I've been having a lot of fun with that. I think I'm already into World 3. It's pretty quick.
That's where I'm at, yeah, because it's only 6 levels per world, and then there's like a mini game with your minis that you kind of have to guide them through a little puzzle to get your, to collect the other's toy.
Yeah, it's like a very basic Lemmings.
Yeah, and then exactly, and then there's also the boss fight at the end of each level, which differs from each level, and there's always like a theme to it. But it's really cool. It's, I don't know if it's worth the $50 I paid, right? It's a solid game. Like, it's really good. I'd say get it on Nintendo sale, which means, it goes off like $15-20 if you're lucky, right?
10 mostly.
Yeah, but it's really fun. Like, it's a really great chill game. Like, the game isn't that difficult, but it's fun enough to where it's, you don't care. Like, you're just willing to play because it's Mario and Donkey Kong and it feels good,
Yeah, and finally, last but not least, I took the plunge and I started up Pal World.
Oh, you did jump into that.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
And I am hooked. I've been thinking about playing it, and it's definitely got that survival aspect to it. Like, you start out basically naked and cold at night, and
yeah, a lot of survival games do that now. Yeah, we just wake up somewhere for whatever reason, and you're basically bare-assed until you get some stuff.
But luckily, it is like super easy to build things, and they don't require a whole lot of resources. Like some games, you're like, I don't want to get 18 of this one thing. Like in this one, it's like basically 2 wood for everything, and get a little campsite set up real quick, and then at first, if you don't have a bed, you have to stick around the fire at night, otherwise you freeze. And then I've only seen the basic quote unquote starter pals and gotten a bunch of those. The objectives are laid out pretty simple for you. They're like, here, build a bed for your pal, build a campfire. And then you're like, okay, I did that. Next, like, catch this many pals to level up. Okay.
Yeah, I've been wanting to try that. I don't have Game Pass anymore, and I've been curious about it, especially on PC, because I heard the Xbox versions don't run that well. But granted, it's early access, so I expect there to be issues and whatnot. And Microsoft, from what I had read, actually was pushing to get more resources to the developers, because they're basically like an indie developer in Japan. I think they're in Japan. So it's like they didn't anticipate the success of the game at all, really, right? So I guess Microsoft is also trying to get them more resources to help them with, getting it to run better on Xbox. But it sounds really cool. I just don't know if it's the hook I'll get into, because like I told you, I was playing that Enshrouded game for a little bit. And, that's like my survival kick for now. So it's one of those things where maybe at some point when I get kind of bored of that, maybe I'll get the Power World, But it's something I definitely want to check out, because I know the hype's kind of died off a little bit, but it's still really popular.
Did you play any of the more recent Pokemons? Like, you played Arceus, right?
I really liked Arceus. Yeah, that was a great one. I need to finish it, but I enjoyed that a lot.
So just picture that, but now you're making a little campsite and a little house with a bed in it.
Yeah, and
That's basically it.
Exactly, which sounds great. It was like I said, like I'm already doing that in another game where I'm building.
Yeah.
Building walls and all this other stuff that I'll meticulously build, and it's really for nothing, because it's my home base.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things that I tend to rotate survival games, is what I'm saying. So I'm gonna get the Power World at some point, because it does look really awesome for what it is. Plus, really, the benefit for me for waiting is that by the time I play it, they'll have more updates, and there'll probably be more stuff they added, some other quality of life features they've adjusted or addressed.
It might be the official access.
Or that, who knows? It could be that long. Yeah, really. And for me, I've been juggling around a lot, just because, I don't know, lately I've had sort of I've been hopping around a lot in different games, like not quite settling on one thing for a long time. But a game that I was playing in early access and just got the version 1 release, it's an action RPG like Diablo called Last Epoch. And it's really cool because it has like this time traveling mechanic where the idea is that there's this thing called the Void that's sort of just eating the world up. And you start off in it's sort of like this game's version of the 1200s, somewhere around there. And then, you have your different classes. Like I'm playing as like an acolyte priestess because she's awesome, and she, you can spec into like a warlock. But it has like those Diablo-like classes, right? There's like a warlock, a wizard, some sort of soldier kind of thing.
The tank.
Like the tank and everything. Yeah. So it has like the 5 sort of archetypes that you can also have mastery classes and subclasses beyond that, which are really great. But the story is, you're sort of a chosen person, really of what, right? Like you can wield this power. And you end up finding like sort of a break in time, like in front of you, and you go through it, and you go through different periods of the world, because the whole idea is like this void is taken over, and the idea so far, from what I got into so far, is that you're trying these different time periods, because at these different time periods, the void has taken more and more of the world over, and you get sort of the end of time, which is what's left of the world, and you find out that there's these pieces or these shards that make up the last epoch, which ideally supposed to let you go sort of back in time to kill or destroy the void before it, infects the world and takes over it. So it's been pretty cool. Like you start off in like the 1200s ish, and then all of a sudden I found a rift in time, that propelled me forward. And the guy's like, no, you got to go back in time. It's kind of like Back to the Future Diablo. So I ended up traveling to this time frame where there's like little dinosaurs, like little compies, little raptor-looking things, and giant spiders and everything. It's a really cool concept, and I really like what I'm seeing so far. The abilities are pretty badass looking, and I love playing an ARPG that has just mobs and mobs of enemies that are just swarmed at you. Like it feels like a Survivor game, like those Vampire Survivors or Deep Rock, right?
Yeah.
So it's been really, really cool. I'm excited to get more into it. It's great because I played in early access like a year and a half ago, which blows my mind. So it's been a trip that it's been a year and a half and they have version 1. And now they have all these advancements. Like the graphics look really, really good now, and they've added more classes. So it's been a pretty fun game. The other one I've been playing that didn't get so well received by most critics, it's Immortals of Avium.
That sounds familiar.
I think it was published by EA. It's by a smaller developer, and this is one of those games where it had a gigantic budget. It was like 125 million, which is obscene, and it kind of fell flat on its face. Like it's one of those games that uses Unreal Engine 5, so it looks great in sort of still frame, but it performs pretty poorly. Like there's a lot of hitching and everything, but the combat's great. It's a first-person shooter that reminds me of like Hexen, where it's just like magic instead of like guns and bows and right.
Oh yeah.
And each you have your 3 different colors, which are red, green, and blue. That's sort of your different sort of disciplines of magic. And the story's pretty basic. It's just there's like a dark army, and you're a part of the light army, and it's called the Wound, which is in the world of Avium, which is the world you're fighting on. That's kind of where you draw your magic from, like the magic users. But each time you're using magic, you're basically killing the world because you're dragging from that power. And the bad guys want to get this one, artifact that blocks other users from using magic, basically to sway the tide of war, so that they'll win the war of light versus dark. So it's a pretty rudimentary story, and like overall, this is like the most mediocre game you could probably imagine, but it's a totally fine combat first-person magic shooter, which is why I'm enjoying it. Because the story's kind of goofy, like the voice acting's kind of goofy, the tone is kind of lower place. It kind of has that MCU humor that I absolutely hate now, where it's like people are kind of joking in a sarcastic way, but it's also weird with the tone of the game. It doesn't quite sync right. But I'm having fun with it. Like it's, I got it dirt cheap on Gameplay. It was like $15 or something, which is fine. But I can completely understand why people didn't like it so much. I'm just having fun despite that, because it's a pretty fun like RPG Hexen shooter. Right? It reminds me of something like that.
I think this is the game I heard of like right before it came out, and I was like, oh, that looks interesting. And then like literally the next day it came out and the reviews bombed it.
Yeah, it's I think a lot of it's like from the technical problems, like the story's just basic, like again, like the combat's really the only good thing about the game, or the only great thing I should say, because it is fun when you do get like you got mobs of enemies and you're switching between your different magic disciplines and comboing attacks and everything, and like you got like a grappling hook kind of thing. It's really cool. It's almost like a Metroidvania in a sense, but it does perform pretty badly even on the PS5 and even on PC. I read that the minimum requirements are really high. Like they want you to have an NVIDIA 2080, which is a pretty beefy card. That's just the minimum to run it. And even that doesn't run well. So it sucks because this game, like it could have been great, I think, but despite its gigantic budget, it just fell flat on its face. And this feels like a game where they were so steadfast on making it like a technical marvel that they lost their way with what the game's supposed to be, right? So I can understand, like it's absolutely worth like 6s and 7s, but I'm enjoying it until the big releases that we talked about in last week's episode, which by the time this will be published, I'll be playing. But there's Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which I'm eagerly anticipating, and also Star Wars Dark Forces Remastered, which is out on the February 29th. Yeah.
Oh, man. I do want to play that one, because I never got to play the original.
I played a little bit of the original. Like I played on PS1, like I rented it, and eventually I bought it way later in life. But it's a great game. It's a really cool first-person shooter, and Night Dive's doing it, so they're going to hit it out of the park with that. And I'm sure it's only like 10 or $15 or something nuts.
I hope they continue on, because I think that one is the one that leads into like Jedi Outcast and Jedi Academy.
Yeah, they're all connected in some way. I'm not sure like how they are, but yeah, that's like sort of the first game. And they have Dark Forces 2 and then the Jedi Academy games. So.
Yeah, I know. I've played Jedi Outcast, and when I played it, they were referencing the Dark Forces, and I was like, oh, what, really? This is a sequel?
Yeah, it's really cool. I think, I hope Night Dive does those.
Yeah.
Because I think, it makes sense that they're doing Dark Forces. It makes perfect sense that they'll eventually do the others. And Night Dive, like, they might have had one or poor, weaker releases, which I don't think is really the case. Like there's that Blade Runner remake that it's the old PC game
Oh wow.
that got some kind of hate at the beginning, but I know they fixed it. But really, for me, like they can do no wrong. Any remaster I played from them,
Yep.
totally worth it. Like they're they're totally worth the price. They're always like $10 or $15, maybe 20, and they're absolutely worth it. So I'm excited to play Dark Forces again. So that's what I've been playing this week. Before we get to the the bigger releases, especially in March. But I guess this will be now as a good time as any to get into our Mega Mania ranking event, Deucy.
Which is also what I've been playing.
That's also true too. Yeah, I've been playing a lot of Mega Man. We're finally here, the most definitive rank of Mega Man games that people have been waiting for, dying for, not necessarily asking for, but now they need it. So, Deucy, what's I guess we should preface this with we kind of went into our history with Mega Man, but what are some of your core memories of Mega Man? I'm pretty sure I know what was the first Mega Man game you played, but what sort of Mega Man related to Deucy's game world here?
I first played it. I think I told the story before on another episode when a cousin gave me their copy, and I had no idea what Mega Man was at the time. And luckily, this was Mega Man 2, because if it was Mega Man 1, I probably would have been turned off to it. But I played Mega Man 2, and I don't know what it was about it, but I just loved it immediately, because it was like, the platformer side-scrolling Mario game, but you always get to shoot. It's not like when you lose the Fire Flower. In this one, you always have bullets. And then the whole rock, paper, scissors aspect of the enemies, you take their weapons, you get to change color, and then you get to use that weapon against somebody. And it was just a great idea, great concept.
Yeah, I started with Mega Man 3 because I remember buying that at Video Express. It was that small local video store we had back then. And I knew what it was. I saw the cover, like that usually what sold us on games back then. I saw the cover. It was obviously inexpensive enough for my dad to say, yeah, we'll get it, whatever. And I know the moment I played it, I fell in love with it for pretty much the same reasons you did, where, for one, it's a lot faster game than most Nintendo games, I would say, especially that I can recall from that time.
A lot tighter controls, too.
Yeah, the controls felt great. Like, I was a huge fan of Castlevania 3 when I was a kid. And this felt like, if Castlevania 3 felt like you were just, trudging through mud, this felt like you were like on ice. And you just felt like an elegant dancer or something. It felt great. But also, like you said as well, with the color changes, like I thought that was one of the coolest things for me as a kid, was like seeing what color combos I'd get from being an enemy.
Yeah.
And it was really difficult, but that was the cool thing, is like there were weaknesses. So even if you thought you would go in with a Mega Buster and just you probably would die instantly, there were ways to beat the bosses a lot easier, and that was usually with whatever weakness they had. And usually we had to use guides or Nintendo Power or something else to for us to figure it out, or by trial and error. You're just like going to each level and hoping that you have the right weapon.
I was just about to say, I don't know if I ever figured out by trial and error what it was. Like the only one in Mega Man 2 that makes sense is when you get the metal blade, it's a saw blade, and then you go up against Woodman.
Yes, exactly.
Like, yes, this makes sense. But after that, you're like, I guess these bubbles can put out fire.
It's like in Mega Man 3, it's even worse, because those enemies are even, there's like Gemini Man, there's like Shadow Man, like all these things that at least I couldn't tie.
Snake.
Yeah,
Snake
snake. Like there's all these things that I couldn't tie to a weapon. Like, what would be effective against like a snake? Like I don't have a shovel to cut its head off or something, like whatever it is. So, I started with Mega Man 3. Our friend Vito had Mega Man 4, which I borrowed. And, we've talked about this in the podcast before, where we would always just sort of borrow each other's games because we had the one game.
Yeah.
So, at least from when I was back then, like I knew that there were a few Mega Man games, and then we jumped to Mega Man X, which was our first podcast episode, which was a great one. And that's kind of where everything, really ended for me as far as Nintendo, because I didn't play Mega Man 5 or 6. It was all about Mega Man X at that time. So, we mentioned at the top of the show, like the series started in 1987. That was the first Mega Man release, and that one was it's a challenging game, to say the least.
Yeah.
And then since then, they've released 11 Mega Man mainline games that are just titled Mega Man, 1 through 11. And then as part of this list that we're ranking, we're also including the 8X games, which started with Mega Man X on Super Nintendo and ended with Mega Man X8 on PS2, which came out in 2004. So we're covering a pretty wide array of games here. About 17 years of games.
X8 was 2004.
Yeah, 2004.
Wow.
Which it's a pretty late release, really.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like relatively early in the PS2's lifetime, but from my perspective in Mega Man, it's pretty late in the Mega Man sort of ethos. We'll call it, right? So we're gonna kick off our list. We've individually ranked our each Mega Man game ourselves, and we can compile them into one. And then Deucy did the Olympic scoring, which I have no idea what that means. So Deucy, if you could.
Oh, it's basically like if say second place tied, if there were 2 seconds, there wouldn't be a third.
Mm-hmm.
There would just be the gold medal and then 2 silvers. So that's what I did here. Was then you skip over that and you go down to the next ranking. So basically, we do still have there are 19 entries in this. But there are going to be quite a few ties based on our point system.
Yeah. So, are we going with the final rank list we ever do here? Are we going with the ranking one? Okay.
Just basically how you listed it here. We'll start with the bottom and work our way up.
Okay. So, yeah. So, needless to say, with only 2 of us here, because it would be cool if we had like more, rankings to kind of divvy things up. But for us, there were a couple of ties, which is just inevitable. Like, there's some games where we felt like they were just right where they were, and then there's sort of a point in some of these games where it's not that they're bad. Like, there's some that are really bad. And there's some that are just like, they're good games, but they're not as good as the one that would have beaten it out. And usually it's like by a small margin. It wasn't anything drastic.
And looking how this list turned out, and I was looking at the ties, I'm like, yeah, no, that makes sense. Because even right up until the day I gave you the list, I was still making little tweaks here and there. Like, no, actually, I might like this one better. No, let me move this one down a little. Like,
yeah, I was second guessing it too. Like, even when I put my list together, like, I hate doing that because sometimes I'm like, I look at it and I second guess. I'm like, should that be there? Like, should I smooth? Like, and then I was just like, no, I just made a concerted effort. Like, no, that's my decision. This is the definitive list.
This is how I feel.
This is how I feel at that moment. Yeah, exactly. And it could always change. We don't know, But one thing we'll disclaim is we aren't covering like the other sub Mega Man games. Like, we're not including Mega Man Legends or the Mega Man Battle Network games.
I've only
Network
recently,
Transmission, those kinds of games. These
I've
are really
only
just the mainline
recently
ones.
started Battle Network because those collections came out.
Yeah,
and I never played them back when they first.
I didn't either.
Released.
Like, by the time they came out, like, I just wasn't interested in them at the time because they're on Game Boy Advance, and I had a Game Boy Advance, but there's other games I liked, and I didn't really feel like playing a Mega Man RPG. So I think
although that sounds awesome.
It does, yeah. Now in hindsight, but we also had Command Mission, which was a really cool RPG on PS2 and GameCube. So yeah, it was the same thing. Like, we didn't really clue this because we don't have that much experience with them, and for Deucy especially, and me, I really play them at all. He just now recently played them. You probably only played the first one, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Yeah. See. So it's cool. These are really just the Mega Man mainline series and the Mega Man X series because we feel like for us those are like the big games we played the most, especially growing up. So we're gonna kick off this list with number 19 on our list, and this was this was a general consensus between the two of us. Dead last. It was 2003's Mega Man X7. Deucy, what can we say about Mega Man X7?
Absolutely nothing. No, I never played it when it first came out. And then you always hear the stories, you hear the reviews, and when I finally did get to play it, it was on the most recent collection that's on Switch, and I was like, wow, I didn't think it could be as bad as the reviews said, but yeah, they were right.
Yeah. So I guess I'll preface before I get into my spiel about X7. I will say this is that all these games on this list are easily accessible now. They're on the Mega Man Legacy collections. There's a 1 and 2 there's just one collection for Mega Man 1 through 11. Is that what it is?
No,
how they split them up? I think it's 1 through 6 and then 7 through 11.
And then 7 through 10. And 11 has to be separate.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So there's a collection for Mega Man 1 through 6. There's a collection for Mega Man 7 through 10. And there's a separate Mega Man 11 because that came out in 2018. And then there's also the Mega Man X collection, and there's 2 volumes in that where like they're split from like 1 through 4, and then the second set has X5 through X8. Mm-hmm. Always cheap. These are really great collections to have. I think they're pretty phenomenal for the price. Like, you usually find them under $20 for both sets.
And you're getting 18 games.
A ton of games, yeah. And like they're on Xbox and PS5. They're always selling these things for dirt cheap as a huge bundle. Like, you'll get the entire collection for like under $60. And PS Plus has pretty much all the Mega Man games already on there too. Like, they have the collections available as part of the subscription.
Do they have like Legends and Legends 2?
No, those. So ironically, you can buy those on PS3 still and play them on your Vita.
Oh,
because they are on the PS1 Classics line on PSN, but you can't access that on PS4 and PS5 unfortunately. So they are playable in some form. But you do have to you have to go to the great lengths. You have to have a PS3 and a Vita, or emulation, of course. But for these games we're talking about, all these are available on collections, and they're absolutely worth it. So with that said, Mega Man X7. I vividly remember I didn't know what this game really was going to be like. I was working at Hollywood Video at the time, so I rented it. And I remember renting it, playing it. I was like, oh my God, this game is just complete trash. Like, it's a 3D game. There are some sort of side-scrolling segments that aren't really prevalent, but a lot of it's like 3D as in like you have a 3D space or like you're going from, bottom to top. The graphics are pretty ugly even for a PS2 game. It feels slow. You play as a character. His name is Alex, I think, and he has like a gun instead of like a Mega Buster.
I think it's Axel.
Axel?
Yeah, AXL.
Okay, Axel. There you go. Excuse me. I don't remember his name. Yeah, it tells you how great this game is. Yep. But it was just an ugly game. It had, none of the levels were fun. Nothing felt good about this game. It felt like a 2D game that was supposed to be, shoehorned into a 3D game, and it's pretty bad. So I think for me, I know this was an easy choice to put dead last. Like, there's no other choice for me but X7.
I can't even describe it because I don't think I got past. Every X game has had a prologue mission training you on the moves and what this game is going to be before you get to the classic Mega Man system of 8 bosses. I don't think I got to the 8 bosses in X7.
I did, and I remember playing a couple. I couldn't name them, but I just remember like I did try to give it a chance, and it's just it was not there. I tried really hard, and like I couldn't. Some games like you really just want to like, and this it just did so much to make me not like it.
I've seen playthroughs of it, speed runs maybe too, and it's ridiculous that you don't even play as X until way late in the game.
Yeah, and I will say too, one of the things I do remember about this are like, the jumping controls are really bad, which is the worst thing you can have in a Mega Man game because usually there's some tight platforming or it's challenging. And in this, I remember certain points where he almost had like a bit of a drift. So like you would try to jump off a platform, but you have to kind of like time it before he gets off the edge or something. It felt sluggish, and it was just awful. So everything about this game just feels wrong. So even if like I think I would be able to deal with the poor graphics. I'd be able to deal with like some of the controls, but for the fact that the movement is sluggish in a Mega Man game, it makes it really difficult to even want to play. So there's no, I don't think this was reviewed well at all. Maybe it got mediocre reviews. I didn't really look them up, but it's definitely sort of a black eye on the Mega Man series.
Yep.
And the next ones, so we have a set of 2 here. They're tied for 17th. We have Mega Man X8 released in 2004 on PS2, and we also have Mega Man X6, which was released in 2001 for PS1. So I put Mega Man X8 at number 18 on my list, and then I put Mega Man X6 at 17. Deucy, you had the opposite. You had X8 at 17 and X6 at 18. So what do you think about X8?
I liked it, surprisingly, a lot better than 7, and even better than 6 a little. 6 is still the classic graphics that 4 and 5 had, the PlayStation 1 graphics. But that one felt wrong. Like
X6 or
X6.
Yeah.
Like you're X and you have Zero's sword because he, like, spoiler alert, dies.
Yeah, he's like dead now.
Yeah, in the past one. But, and this from a storytelling perspective makes sense where he's not very good with the sword. He only has like one move with it. He's still better with his arm cannon, but it just like slows the pace down when you're trying to use both. And I had the hardest time with just the first boss. Like I looked up a guide on like what should be the preferred boss order, and I went to that first level they recommended, and I couldn't even get to the boss in X6. And I was like, okay, forget this. And I switched over to X8, which is the more modern graphics that X7 had, but now they cut out a lot, almost all of the 3D elements, and they went back to 2D, going left to right. And I was like, this is so much better. It's pretty cool how you can like switch between X, Zero, or Axel on the fly. They each have a different move set based on like, this is what will help you get through the level. And I was like, this is a lot more well thought out.
Yeah, X8, it is an improvement over X7, but it's not an improvement enough to where I could say, like, I like the game.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's the thing. Is it's definitely better than X7. I think they finally took, some of the feedback to heart because I'm sure the reviews didn't do well to them at all. And it did feel great that it was 2D and, like, it didn't look that terrible. I still think it's, like, an okay-looking PS2 game, but I wish they just kept it, like, 2D or I don't know, did like a Klonoa thing where it's like 2D graphics and 3D. I don't know, some better, something better to serve the Mega Man art style because it didn't do anything for it. And then beyond that, I thought the sound effects were pretty terrible. And there's some really annoying sound effects. Like some of the bosses repeat their attack names over and over and over, which, it's a thing with the later X games, like especially with X4 and X5. That's kind of when they started with the enemies who are more vocal.
Oh yeah.
Right? Or even Mega Man 8, I should say. And X8 just took it too much. Like, it's just there's that one guy. God, he has he's like a fire boss. I forget what he has. He's like a fire line or something. And he repeats like something / over and over and over and over. And it's just so bad. So it's not the most terrible game I've played, but it's not a great Mega Man game at all. And then Mega Man X6, the only reason I put that slightly higher is because of the 2D graphics. I really like how it looks, but you're right, it's insanely hard. And there's also like some mechanic with being infected by like the Sigma virus, where it's like if you die too often or you get hit too much, I forgot what it is, but it actually makes the game it makes the game more difficult depending on how bad you do. And I forgot how you sort of,
I don't
relieve
remember
the infection.
I don't remember how you cure yourself, but I've seen that on some playthroughs where he's just like Sigma heads are just floating around. And
yeah.
You have to get hit like 3 times and you become totally corrupted or something like that.
It's something like that. It's just kind of an unnecessary mechanic that, makes the game more difficult and doesn't need to be there. And then this does have some 3D bosses in there, and they're pretty ugly looking. And then even like those Sigma heads are pretty ugly and pixelated looking, which is surprising because X4 and X5 look pretty phenomenal. Mm-hmm. So X6, I know a lot of people hate it, and I think it's just to be hated, and that's why I put it lower on my list, because it's not remarkable. It's definitely, towards the latter end of the PS1, because by 2001, PS2 was already out. So this felt like it was just an afterthought at that point. Like they just felt like they could make in their X game, and they released it.
I think somebody in the development team actually has come out and said that it was a cash grab.
It had to be. It Capcom. Feels like it.
Yeah, like because X5 was supposed to be the end of the story. That's why they did what they did. And then they were like, oh, well, let's see how we can bring him back and do X6 now.
Yeah. And I'd say, it's worth trying at least, because you might like it, but I think the difficulty will turn most people off, because it's not even like a fun difficulty. It's just kind of cheap.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of cheap enemy placements.
Yeah. Cheap enemy placements, cheap deaths, like from like ledges and whatnot. Just every sort of trope that you thought would have died with a Nintendo is somehow back in X6 in 2001.
It's an homage.
It's an homage. Yeah. So no surprise that, it's lower on both our lists. So the next selections on our list here, tied for 15th, we have Mega Man 8, released in 1997 for the Saturn and PS1, and we also have Mega Man 7, released in 1995 for the Super Nintendo. I had Mega Man 8 at 15 and Mega Man 7 at 16, and then Deucy once again had the opposite. He had Mega Man 8 at 16 and Mega Man 7 at 15.
Yeah, the only reason for this opposite is I cannot stand the Mega Man 8 cutscenes and voices.
Yeah, I could see that. That's fair.
Mega Man 7, it kind of added little sound effects here. Definitely a step above the Mega Mans for Nintendo, because this was the first one on Super. But it just is not as bad as Mega Man 8's cutscenes and the Elmer Fudd Dr. Light.
Oh, yeah. How love it, buddy.
Yeah.
Oh, look at Mega Man now. Yeah, so I had that. I had swapped for similar reasons, because I almost put 8 at the same rank you did. But I was trying to think back to Mega Man 7 and when I played it, what I thought of it then. And that's why I put it lower than Mega Man 8. Because Mega Man 8, I think it's a fine Mega Man game. It's just okay. I completely agree with the stupid and awful voice acting. I think it's just Clown Man. I forgot what his name is, but he has like the most annoying kitty voice, like that's just not pleasant to hear and just grating. Like there's nothing good about it. Some of the levels are kind of ugly. Some of the bosses aren't interesting in Mega Man 8, but I'm thinking the Mega Man 7 when I played it, and like I was just really disappointed with it is what it was. That's why I put that a little bit lower than 8, because when 7 came out, it was 95, which means we'd already played Mega Man X.
And X2.
And X2, really, yeah. So with Mega Man X, that was the new bar for me. That was Mega Man going forward for me. So when I played 7, I was kind of surprised that it was related to the Nintendo games, because I didn't, I figured Mega Man X, which I misconstrued as Mega Man 10.
Yeah.
Right? We got Mega Man 7. When I played it, I was like, I can't do anything I can do in X. I can't do a wall jump. It looks kind of nice. It's a pretty nice looking Super Nintendo game, but I just don't like a lot of the bosses. And I would say the biggest reason why I put this lower than 8 is because of the final boss.
Oh,
I talked about
right.
that in our worst bosses episode with the Wily capsule, where he is just too damn hard. Like I think the rest of the game was fine. Like I don't remember having that much trouble, but that last Wily capsule, it's just so freaking hard with the stupid spring weapon you have to use too. So between the two, like, again, I don't think these are bad games, but as far as, how they measure up to the rest of Mega Man games, they're low on my list for that reason.
Yeah, I would definitely preface this by saying, going forward, these are all good Mega Mans. Just they had to go somewhere on the list. The bottom three that we've already talked about were definitely the bottoms for a reason.
Yeah.
But these are okay. I really like the graphics of 8. As long as you play it on mute, it's fine. And 7, I never played it back when it was on Super Nintendo. I'd even forgotten about it for the longest time until that first ever Mega Man collection came out for like GameCube and PlayStation.
Yeah.
And I finally gave it a shot there, and I was like, okay, this is fine. There'd been a lot of time between me playing Mega Man X and then playing just old Mega Mans again, and I was like, I can see how this is an old Mega Man game just with Super Nintendo graphics. So I was fine with that.
Yeah, I think, and that's what's really interesting is because you hadn't played it till later in life, and I played it when it was newer, right? Because I remember renting at Blockbuster. So it's funny how that one sort of change.
Yeah,
because it's different when you're looking at it from when you did, which was like 2003ish when that first Mega Man collection came out, and like you kind of see it for what it is. As a 10-year-old, I was just like, this isn't Mega Man X. It's not as fun, like it's a lot more difficult. It feels like old Mega Man, but I'm used to how old Mega Man looked too, right? So it's like it looked good on Super Nintendo, but I'm used to that NES look Mega Man had.
Yeah, in your head, and I could see, even I probably would have said this, like, keep Mega Man on Nintendo and then have X on Super.
Yeah, and realistically, like it tied with Mega Man 8 as far as our scoring. I think that's right. That feels right. Like I wouldn't say don't play one or the other. I'd say if you play them both, you probably would feel similarly. You know? It's pretty accurate. Okay, Deucy, number 14. This is where we both agreed on, and this was the original Mega Man released in 1987. We both had this at number 14.
This surprised me that we just, boom, nailed it.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna. I wasn't sure you were gonna put this one because, I don't know. I assume maybe you had some more funs than I did with it, but I was surprised that you'd put it lower on the list like I did.
I think it just kind of fell there because as I was playing the other ones, and I was like, oh, I really like this. Oh, I really like this one. It just sort of ended up here. And I know I enjoyed it more than the ones we've already talked about. I've even beaten it, and I was like, wow, this was fun.
I've beaten it a couple times.
Yeah. But it is ungodly hard. So, yeah, let's keep it lower.
Yeah. Really the biggest fault this game has, which isn't even his fault, is just its age, right? It's 1987. It's one of the earlier NES games. It's the first in a series that would only get refined with each entry after that. So that's really the biggest detriment, is that the fact that it came out so early and it feels like a 1987 game. But it's very playable. It's great. It's just really difficult. This only has 4 bosses, right? Instead of the usual 6 instead of 8. And the last few levels are really tough, especially with the yellow devil.
Yeah.
Right. So there are some things that are, this is definitely worth playing because it's the first in a long series. But just be aware that the age does kind of hurt it a little bit. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, but again, like on the collection, it's totally fine. It's totally worth playing.
Yeah, save states really help a lot with this one.
Especially that, yeah. More than anything else. We didn't have those back then, yeah. All right, so the next one was another tie. This one tied for 12th, and it's another set of games. It's Mega Man X2, which came out in January 1995 for the Super Nintendo. And then Mega Man X3, which came out January 96, and it was also ported in Japan on the PS1 and Saturn. So I had put Mega Man X2 at number 12 on my list, and Mega Man X3 at 13, and Deucy put X2 at 12 and X3 at 11. So we were both pretty similar in that similar range for both of these games.
Yeah, we actually got X2 exactly the same too there, but I put X3 above it because I don't know, it seemed a little more simplified. X2 had that whole system where you had to collect Zero's parts.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Because he
I
died
did that on the collection
the first time.
Yeah.
And that one, it kind of got on my nerves a little because all the Mega Man games has a boss order. But when these guys show up, they go to random levels, and it could be levels you've already done or levels that are to come, but they're not in the order that you're trying to do the bosses in. And if you don't do them at a certain amount of time, they disappear, and then you lose out on Zero. And I'm like, I don't want to be forced to do this. I want to be able to go anywhere I want, whenever I want. And so I just ranked it a little bit lower than 3. Also, I'd say it's a little harder than 3.
It is, and that's yeah. I would say it's a little bit more difficult.
But I still enjoyed both of them, and when they showed up as a tie, I was like, that makes sense. Like
Yeah,
I could have flip flopped on them too.
yeah, and again, this is another set of games where I was kind of flip flopping when I was ranking them because again, Mega Man X was my new bar, and for me, X2 and X3, their soundtracks just can't compare. I don't know why.
Mm.
I can't connect myself with the soundtracks of X2 and X3, and that's a huge part of Mega Man X for me. And additionally, it's X2 is especially really difficult, and X3 is less so. And 3 was, I was actually really excited for 3 because you could play as 0 later in the game. Like you could hit start and you hit R, I think it is. You could swap between them. And I thought that was really cool too, but it wasn't as fleshed out as I wanted it to be. Like it wasn't truly playing as 0 throughout the whole game.
Yeah, you couldn't face bosses with him.
Yeah.
And if you died as him, you just lost him forever.
Yeah, so that's kind of why I put it a little bit lower than X2 is because of that, where it's like, it's kind of like pulling the rug out from under me, where I was really hoping to play 0 finally, and I got this X3 game, which the music isn't good. It's also one of the more rarer Super Nintendo games at this point. Like, it's worth hundreds of bucks just for the cartridge alone.
Very surprised about that, but it's also very late in the system.
It was. I mean, what was it, 96, right?
Yeah.
January 96, which, is a few months removed from this N64 coming out. And then X2 is, it's also pretty expensive, but not as bad as X3. But X2, like, when I play on the collection, I actually had a lot of fun with the 0 parts thing, but I also was struggling with it too. Where I'm like, I kind of hate it for the same reason. Where it's like, oh, I just finished the level, it's randomized. It's like getting ambushed.
Yeah,
and I think that was their intent. It's like they wanted to make it a little bit more dynamic, where you might get ambushed and have to go back and get his parts. And it's okay. Like I think that it could have been done better, and it's fine. But I think that's the thing is both these games are just fine. Like I enjoy them. I have really nothing bad to say about them at all. But again, like coming off of Mega Man X, like I don't know, the music is like a big thing for me on that game, and the feel of it.
Did you own X2?
No, I only rented. I rented both of them. I didn't own them
Because it's so weird when I remember not playing 2 and 3 as much as X because I didn't have access to it as much. I know I rented 2. I might have rented 3, and so when I finally played it again on a collection. And I was going through the bosses, I was like, wait, I really remember this. I remember this boss. I remember this level. Why do I remember this so well? I don't... Back then, the rental would have only been a 3-day thing.
Yeah.
I must have really played the hell out of it in those 3 days.
Yeah, it's weird because I don't... Like, I should have bought this back then. Is really like it should have been a shoo-in, right? But I don't recall it really ever seeing it in stores. Granted, I don't know how hard I was looking for it.
Yeah.
And renting, you're right. It was really hard to rent. Like it felt like they had one copy at the stores I rented it at because I only rented them once or twice maybe, and then I went on to other games. So I think that's the other thing too. Is like I just didn't play as much because with Mega Man X, I rented a ton, and it was really easy for me to buy when it was for sale used because I loved it so much. But I just didn't have that same attachment to X2 and X3 for whatever reason, and. I finally got to play them in the collections and whatnot. And again, like they're great games. There's nothing bad about them, but X is still like that hallmark for me. Like, it's hard to beat X, Okay, so the next game on our list, another one where we had another tie on this one. Excuse me. We had 2 number 10s here. We had Mega Man 9 and also Mega Man 11. So Mega Man 9 came out in 2008 on, it was first, I think it was only a WiiWare game first, and then it eventually came to Xbox Live Arcade and PSN, and then there's Mega Man 11, which is probably the most recent of the games we're talking about today. That came out in 2018 on the Switch, Xbox, PS4, PC, that's also everywhere. So I'd put Mega Man 9 at number 8, and I'd put Mega Man 11 at number 11, appropriately enough. And Deucy ranked Mega Man 9 at 13, and he ranked Mega Man 11 at 10. So what do you think about both these games, Deucy?
They were great at the time for what they were. Like, Mega Man 9 was the return to form. Mega Man 8 had come out way back in 1997, and so 11 years later, we're finally getting a sequel, and it went back to the classic Nintendo graphics.
It was so good, and I was so excited.
We never thought we would see again. But it also took a couple steps backwards. Like, he didn't have his charge shot anymore. He didn't have a slide. It was insanely hard.
Yeah, it was.
They really stuck with the Nintendo authenticity. I think the reason it fell kind of low on my list here is the same reason as the original Mega Man. That's where it had to go. Like, other games came out and I was putting them higher, and this one just sort of fell. But I still liked it. I still liked, like I said, what it did for the series. It reinvigorated it, and it really led in a roundabout way to Mega Man 11 that I'm putting with this. And this one's also, I mean, it's in my top 10, but I've still never beaten it. And it is also really hard. And I'm not really a fan of that gear system, but I do really enjoy the graphics, and I do enjoy the challenge of the levels. Like it, even though it's modern graphics with kind of a 3D effect on a 2D plane, it still feels like really classic Mega Man.
Yeah, they have all the sort of design sensibilities of classic Mega Man, but with like this really gorgeous 3D, 2D look on it.
Yeah.
I feel the same way because, when Mega Man 9 came out, it felt like that was sort of the beginning of sort of a retro renaissance where, it became cool to collect video games and stuff. And that's when to me, it feels like when game prices started to go up.
It also became cool again to make games look like this.
Exactly, right? So it was all sort of that, it was that time in gaming where, what's old is new again. And this definitely was representative of that. And I think it's really successful for what it does. And exact same reason, like there's nothing. I love this game, but there's just 9 other games that top it, and it's like it's a fantastic game. I think it's a great callback to the NES ones. I was just as puzzled as you were when there was no charge shot. Right, I was like, what? So this is like after 3, but before 4 or something. Like, how does this make this doesn't make any sense?
Not even after 3. I don't think he has a slide either. This
is
like
so it would have been after 2. Yeah, after 2, right? So it's weird that they went that far of a throwback with it, where some of his abilities didn't even exist, which made the game naturally hard by default. Because after Mega Man 4, we're playing with charge shots. We have a slide. We have all these Mega Man moves that we're used to that help us get through the levels. And now it's like, no, go back to basics. Like, this is a literal sort of restart for the series, down to the 8-bit looking graphics,
down to the sound too. Like I really enjoyed the homage they did with the music. There's like Mega Man 2 songs in here. There's I think some from Mega Man 3 and 4 also, and it was like they obviously didn't know how well it was going to do. They were like, we just have to do this because it's been so long since we've had a Mega Man, so let's do this big send up, a big celebration for him.
Yeah.
And luckily it did so well that they were like, oh, we can do this again.
Yeah. And it's great. Like, I'm glad this happened because it needed to. It is also a way to tell people that Mega Man's still alive in some form. Because in 2008, like, he was, I can't even really measure when the last Mega Man game came out, like the true Mega Man game that wasn't like an RPG or a spinoff.
Yeah.
It had been a while before we get like a true Mega Man game. So it's great that they went back to basically the beginning, and it led to more in the series. Now with that, Mega Man 11, it came out 6 years ago now, and I was really excited for it for the same reasons, where the graphics looked amazing. They said it was more true to form of like an old Mega Man game, and I love it. I really enjoy this game. It's insanely difficult. I think the levels might be a little too long in some instances, especially that bouncing level. I forgot the boss's name, but Jesus, there's like these. It's like in a bounce house that's 2D. Like, it's so hard to navigate because you're just bouncing all over the place.
There's not even, like, there's barely any solid floors.
Yeah. And I did have to adjust with the gear system because the gear system allows you to sort of slow down time or fast forward to make you go faster, right? Like, it speeds up time, I think.
There's one that makes you powerful.
Oh, more powerful. That's right. So slow down time, there's one that sort of boosts your attack power. And then each weapon has sort of an alternate based on one of those gear things. So there's a different level of strategy there because you have to figure out what instances to use, like a slow-mo weapon or like a boosted up weapon, which I think is really cool. But it's just a lot to juggle. Like, there's beyond the platforming hazards, you have to juggle what boss weaknesses there are, right? Like, they're all pretty damn difficult, even with the weaknesses.
Oh my god, the mid-level bosses in this game are insane.
They're damage sponges. Oh my god, I played the acid guy's level, and it's like, holy crap, he takes so much. It's insane. So again, like, these games are excellent, no matter how you slice it. They're just, middle of the pack, more or less, somewhere around there, and they're justifiably so. But some people might disagree and say that it's one of their favorites, which is also valid too.
It's true. Like, you could make a case for Mega Man 11 being the best, but I mean, I've seen speedrunners go through it, and it's like, bravo, guys, you've made it look like it's effortless.
Yeah, you appreciate it more when you know how hard it is, and you see them how do it so effortlessly.
Yeah, it's like, oh, that's how you use that gear.
Yeah. Oh.
But I'd say now, from like the rest of the list moving up, is a lot of nostalgia being factored in.
Definitely the case. Yeah, exactly. Because I think that's the other thing. Is like, some people might say like, well, why would you put this higher? It's like, well, we played this a lot. It, nostalgia and sentimentality go a long way sometimes. The other ones might be better on the technical level in terms of design, but just the way we've placed it. Also, the other thing too is like there's 19 games on here. You're bound to have some ideas that tend to get watered down over 19 games. So there's also something where some of those earlier games had fresher ideas and they were on a hot streak, right? Versus some other bosses like in Mega Man 8 where it's like, all right, you've kind of scraped the bottom of the barrel, All right, Deucy. So we're breaking in sort of our top 10 here. We're closing in. And number 9, we have Mega Man 10, which was released in 2010 on the Wii, PS3, and 360. I put this at number 10, and you put this at number 9.
Yeah, I put this higher than Mega Man 9 just because it was a little bit easier. I played it recently, and I'm already into the Wily stages. But I also like what they added onto it. You can play as Proto Man, and that gives you a charge shot finally. And I think there was even some DLC, but also in this, it's an unlockable where you play as Bass.
Oh, I forgot about that. I entirely forgot about that.
And he didn't come along until what, Mega Man 7 or 8?
7, yeah, and then they had that Rockman and Fort, I think it was called, right, for Super Nintendo in Japan.
And so this is like the first time you see him in classic NES 8-bit. And he's unique in that he has like an 8-way shot.
He's almost like Knuckles in a sense.
Yeah.
Like he plays so differently than the other two characters.
And he shoots around like Samus. You can aim in any direction. And like I said, Proto Man gives you the charge shot. Meanwhile, Mega Man is still basic. I don't know why they didn't decide. I guess because they knew they had these other characters. But like, he doesn't slide and he doesn't charge. But it's still fun. And yeah, I just liked that they continued the Mega Man 9 resurgence and Mega Man 10, which I actually didn't play way back at the time when it first came out.
Oh, really? I thought you would have bought it at launch or something.
I did, and then I never played it. Because I was telling myself, I'm going to get through 9 first and then go into 10, and then I never got through 9.
Never got through 9.
Hard.
Yeah, I vividly remember buying this on Xbox Live back then. It was only like $10 where it was. And I thought it was a great step forward from 9 because 9, again, was like that back to basics. And this felt like, it'd be like a transition from Mega Man 1 to 2, right? Where it's largely the same game, but there's some improvements that helped a lot. Like, I think the difficulty's tuned a little bit better in this one.
Mm-hmm.
I think the bosses are slightly less interesting. Like, 9 was notable because that's Splash Woman, which is like the first female Mega Man boss.
Yeah.
Right, which is pretty cool. But this one, I put just, again, it was like 1 below 9, I think it was, somewhere around there. It was 2 below. And it's a good game. I just don't think I appreciate as much as 9 did because 9 was, again, it was the first sort of signal that they're going back to the retro style and it was sort of like a resurgence thing. I will say one great thing I liked that 10 added was if you wanted to, there's an option to add, it's not quite called easy mode. I forget what they called it, but it covers like some of the death trap spikes. It puts a platform over it, so it's a little bit safer to traverse some levels, which is really good because, Mega Man 9 was reviewed well, but one of the criticisms they had was how difficult it was, like even more so than some of the older games. So 10 kind of remedied that by adding like an easier play mode for people.
I think also in this collection, the Legacy Collection 2, they added a thing on 9 and 10 where you get a shield, quote unquote, and it halves your damage.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know they had that.
Just naturally, like you don't have to collect anything. It doesn't wear out. It's just sort of a slightly easier mode for you for both games.
Yeah. So again, like nothing bad about this game. I really like it. It's just this is where it landed on our list.
Yep.
More or less. So the next one, it's another tie. It's tied for 7th, and we have Mega Man 4 released in 1991 for the Nintendo. It was also released on PS1 in Japan in 1999, which is pretty cool. And also we have tied with it Mega Man 6 from 1994 on NES and also released in Japan in 99 on PS1. Now I had this at number 7 for Mega Man 4 and then I put Mega Man 6 at number 9. And Deucey, you had Mega Man 4 at number 8 and Mega Man 6 at number 6. So I guess we'll break down Mega Man 4 first. What'd you think of that one?
Hard.
Yeah, it's really hard.
At this point, I only played 2 and 3 when I borrowed 4 from Vito. Or maybe rented it too, both. And I would get stuck at Ringman specifically.
Yes.
Which is only like the 4th boss.
He's really hard.
Yeah.
All the levels are, actually, I would say the levels in this game in general are hard. Like beyond the boss, the levels are difficult.
Yeah, sometimes I wouldn't even get to Ringman. Like I would be so beat up in the levels that by the time I got to him, I had 1 hit left. So that's why it kind of fell a little bit on my list. It's still more of the classic that I loved. I played 2, beat it, played 3, ready for 4. 4 introduced the charge shot, and I was like, whoa, this is a cool new thing. I'm gonna go through this entire level constantly charging, constantly hearing that little whoa, 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 whoa,
Yep.
whoa. But yeah, it was just the difficulty that got to me that made me lower it. And then 6 I had played back in the day. I'd actually rented it, and I think I got to the X castle because in this game, Mr. X, quote unquote, is the main boss until he literally just rips off his beard and it's Wily.
Just like in 4 when Wily was like revealed to be the last boss too, right? Like it was yeah.
4, 5, and 6. It was always like
it's like, oh geez, it's like a Scooby-Doo mystery.
Yeah. But 6, I got to the last boss in just a rental time, and the thing I liked about this one was the uniqueness that they did with the level design. Like they split it off. You could choose where you want to go, an upper or lower path. A handful of the bosses, there were 2 forms, where if you beat their true form, you got a beat part, where the little beat, the bird. And other than that, though, the levels just would fork. And you would go, sometimes they were shorter, sometimes they were better items on that side. And then when it came to Rush, he wasn't your dog anymore. He would morph into or transform into a suit. And then it gave you either these big boxing gloves that broke through walls or a jetpack that acted like a jetpack you normally know in video games. And I was just like, this is fun. Even though it's kind of tedious to constantly push pause and then keep switching to the suits.
Of course.
But at least on this Legacy Collection, it seems to have sped it up a little.
Yeah, the Legacy Collection does have like a turbo mode, which for one, eliminates slowdown, like the original slowdown in the games, because it wasn't intentional back then. And I think it does speed up the menus a little bit too, so it's a little bit easier to navigate and switch weapons. But it's still tedious no matter how you slice it. You still have to go in there. For Mega Man 4, for me, I have a lot of the memories you do because I keep going back to it, but it's like, we each had one Mega Man game. It was almost like Captain Planet Uniting Powers or something. So I remember playing this a ton at Vito's house. I borrowed it a ton. And really the reason, again, like I put this in number 7, which is still like a pretty high rank, but I only put it lower because I didn't really own it. But one reason why I put it higher on my list is because I really love how the bosses look in this game, and the music's great. And I love, like, there's Skull Man, who's really cool looking, Pharaoh Man. Was it Dust Man? Was that the guy's name? Dust Man, right? So it was like he was kind of goofy looking, kind of looked like an ice machine or something.
Yeah, he had a giant square vacuum on his head.
Yeah, it was really funny. So I have a lot of affinity for the bosses in here, and Frogman or Toadman? Toadman, right? So there was a lot of cool things about this game, and I think it did a lot to advance the series because I had the charge shot, which is a big noble thing. And in every platform, I think because of Mario, I have a habit of holding B because I feel like that'll ramp up my speed and my jump. So yeah, I heard the warbling just as much as you did. I can't imagine how that drove my parents nuts, hearing that in the background. Over and over and over. So, it's a game that I have a lot of fondness for, and, it feels right at number 7. Mega Man 6, I kind of had the opposite story of where you did with Mega Man 7, where I didn't play this till the collection that came out on PS2 and GameCube and Xbox. So the only relevancy I have of Mega Man 6 was I remember seeing the box at a Circuit City way back then. Because this was a late Nintendo release. Like, this came out in the last year of the Nintendo. It was out in 94. And, stores I was going to really didn't have that many Nintendo games left to rent, if any. Like, they were really transitioning away for having more room for Super Nintendo, Genesis, and ultimately PS1 was coming later on in 95. But, NES was kind of getting out of my periphery at that time. So Mega Man 6, well, I knew it existed. I could never find it. And, like, I couldn't, I wouldn't be able to convince my parents to buy me at Circuit City or something because Super Nintendo was my thing.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing it in stores. I think I just got lucky that I happened to find it at Blockbuster. I'm pretty sure I'm vaguely remembering that, like, I went there looking for something on Super Nintendo and it wasn't there, so I ended up going to the Nintendo section and I was like, oh wow, there's a copy of Mega Man 6. I will definitely try this.
And I do remember the cover because it's a pretty iconic cover where he's got that jetpack on him, he's flying over,
the castles
and everything. Like, it's really awesome looking, but It's just just an unfortunate circumstance where it released so late in the NES's life cycle that I just had no chance to play it. So when I did play it, I liked it. It was a really great game. I think it's definitely one of the more gorgeous NES games because it was so late.
Yeah.
But I just, for that reason, because I don't have that sort of nostalgic affinity for it, I just kind of put it at number 9, which is still great. Like it's still a fantastic game. Yeah, it's really enjoyable. It's just not one of my favorites. So moving on to number 6, this one we had a little bit of a split opinion on. We had Mega Man 5, which came out in 1992 on the NES, and this was also released in Japan on PS1 in 99. So Japan, in 99, I remember reading about this in, I think it was EGM or something, but Japan got a re-release of basically all the early Mega Man games on PS1. Like they had some enhancements and some other things, and I'd always hoped that they would come here, because I remember seeing it like in a sidebar in EGM or something saying, Japan's getting Mega Man 4, Mega Man X, whatever. And I was like, oh, we don't get those here?
Were they still the old classic graphics?
Yeah, they're just singular releases. I think they're technically like $20, like sort of like a greatest hits thing.
Wow. And
they're releasing them one after another, something like that. So that's why I call it the PS1 port, because it's really weird to say, oh yeah, Mega Man 5's out on PS1 in 99, But this one was out in 92 for NES, and this one I didn't play as a kid either. I couldn't find it. So... I imagine for us, it's similar stories for when we got to play it, because it wasn't in 1992 or anywhere near it.
There's a reason that this is worth the most out of all the classic Nintendos.
It's crazy how expensive. It's like $1,200 if I recall for a complete copy, and several hundred for a loose one. It's the rarest of the set out of all 6.
And I mean, it shows, because I never played it until that first collection on GameCube, and I didn't even see it for rent like I wanted to, but it was always rented out.
I never saw this ever back then.
Yeah.
It may as well have not existed.
And I know I'd seen its coverage in Nintendo Power. That's what made me really want to play it, because I would just look at the maps over and over again. Gravity Man was the first boss, and he looked amazing, like an awesome little, flip the script and, go up on the ceiling and fight him up there. But I put it higher on my list because once I did finally play it, it was just so fun.
Yeah.
And, it was fairly, I guess you could say easy, because I breezed through the bosses until you get to the last stage. The castle stages are what really challenges you.
I would say it's like, it's medium difficulty, but it's tuned right to where you don't feel like anything's too cheap.
Yeah.
Like it feels like everything's doable and it flows the right way. Whereas, in some of the early Mega Man games, you're bound to hit a wall or a segment where it's just you're dying over and over because you can't make a jump, because you're getting smacked by something you can't see. This feels like there's less of that, and it feels like it's more tuned like a proper Mega Man game should be.
I did notice the bosses were a little tougher, even when you're using their weakness.
Definitely.
They just have so many different types of moves that are going to smack you no matter what.
And they're fast. That's really my problem with it, because I understood everyone's pattern, and there's a couple, especially Gravity Man. He has one of the coolest levels in all the Mega Man games, where each sort of section, you're either running on the ceiling or running on the ground, because it changes the gravity at certain points of the level, which is a really great gimmick.
Yeah.
It looks so cool. It's totally discombobulating, but it's so fun to do, because you're Mega Man, running on the ceiling and you're hopping towards the ground. It's freaking weird. It's a great effect, though.
I also liked Starman's stage, because there wasn't really an underwater section like a lot of the games have had because of their enemies. But in this one, you're in space, so you have the same floaty graphics.
You have less gravity, so yet you're floating when you jump and everything. Even when you're fighting him, you're floating.
Even when you're fighting him in the refights in the Wily Castle, you float in that little room.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just really enjoyed. I also enjoyed the part of the story where Proto Man was supposedly the main enemy.
That was really cool. You basically fight Proto Castle.
Yeah. And so, for those that don't know, Proto Man is technically Mega Man's brother. He's like literally the prototype Mega Man. He was the first one that Dr. Light built, and something was wrong with him, so he kind of went off on his own. And now all of a sudden, supposedly he's evil, and he's like kidnapped Dr. Light, and he's doing all this stuff. Come to find out, of course, it's Wily.
Yeah, of course.
But and that was another thing that I kicked myself for when I was little. I was like, I want to play this. This looks awesome. It's like brother versus brother, and then just couldn't get my hands on the game.
Yeah, it sucks, because this was, what years is it? It was 92, so it wasn't even that technically late for the NES. Like, Super NES was out, and it was starting to gain steam at 92, I would say.
This was the same year as Darkwing Duck.
Yeah, right. So, it's weird that it just it just wasn't a big deal. Like I didn't get my hands on it until way later, but I really enjoyed it. Like I think the levels are really nice as far as their level design, and also I think the graphics are freaking awesome in this one. Like everything just looks so vivid and bright and vibrant. You know, the boss designs, I'd say for the most part are hits. Like I can't really call out that I'd say like are bad. They are difficult, like you said, like Gravity Man, especially like if you can't get timing right. Like he doesn't have that many attacks. It's just he's fast. And you're also contending with the fact that you're, changing gravity each other second. So like you'll be on the ground, then the ceiling.
And you're always opposite of him.
Yeah, it feels like you're watching like Neo and Agent Smith fight or something, Like they're just barely missing each other, floating around.
Yeah.
It's a really cool effect though. But this is, this one I was really surprised that I kind of placed that in my top, what I probably put it number 5 because everything about it feels great. Like the difficulty was tuned right. It looks great. It feels great. It's a really great Mega Man game. Like I liked it better than I like 6.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Deucy. So we are here at our top 5. This is where there aren't any ties. This is where we definitively said this is where we're placing these.
Yeah.
So starting in at number 5, I was surprised that you even put this kind of higher. You even put it a little bit higher than I did. We have Mega Man X5 released in 2000 for the PS1. It also got a PC port. I put this at number 6, and Deucy put this at number 5.
Yeah, I put it up this high because this was the first Mega Man game I had beaten in a while. Like, I liked all the ones that I was playing, but I just always got stuck somewhere, especially, we know infamously on X1. Mm-hmm. And then I remember I had borrowed X4 and X5 from you at the same time, and I was kind of going back and forth on them. And X4, we'll find out, is a little bit higher, but a lot tougher.
Yeah, easily.
And so X5, I kind of breezed right through it. I didn't mind the time limit that was placed on it. Like, you have to do things quickly.
Yeah, because it's supposed to be like a bomb's detonating or something's going to launch some like nuke type of thing.
The space station is like crashing, and every time you face a boss, it knocks off a certain amount of hours or something like that.
It's like an hour. It's almost like continues in a weird way. Like every time you get a game over and stop the level, it ticks down, or if you beat a level, it ticks down. It's really weird, but it's not that pressing as you'd expect.
No, if you actually do everything on the first try, and you get all these certain parts for the weapon, you like save humanity. You stop the space station or you blow it up or something like that, and then you get the best ending. I did enjoy that there were multiple endings for this one. I also really liked how you could swap between X or 0 before each level, whereas in 4, it's one or the other.
Yeah, it's like their own campaigns almost.
Yeah. So I did like that you could just go, oh, I feel like playing a 0, or maybe it's easier. This level is easier with him, or with X, I definitely need this type of weapon. And yeah, like I said, I got all the way through. It's actually, now that I think about it, probably the first X game that I ever beat.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't really connect that, but that makes sense. Yeah.
Not just like the first Mega Man, but the first X,
the X
for sure.
series, yeah.
So yeah, that's why I just really enjoyed it, and that's why it shot so far up onto my list.
Yeah, I put this just out of my top 5, and it could have easily been in my top 5. This one, when it came out, I loved it to death. Like this was the first Mega Man game where I was able to find everything on my own without a guide. Like so much so that I was actually considering writing a guide for GameFAQs, but I never did. I was just like, that sounds like a great idea, but I didn't.
Which is surprising because you get like 2 suits in this.
Yeah,
there's
a
so
lot
much
of parts. Like I was surprised that I found all the heart tanks. Like I 100% this game back then. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was easier back then. When I played it recently, I was like, damn, this is actually pretty hard. Like there's that one level with the speeder bike.
Oh yeah.
It's really freaking hard. It's like, I don't know how I did this back then pretty seamlessly, because also there's collectibles in the midst of that you have to go for, and they're not easy to get. So it's a fantastic game, I think. I think people, I know this got like not great reviews at the time, and I think people don't like this one that much, but I'm also like, I don't care. It's still a fantastic Mega Man X game. It still feels really good. And also, I did love that the bosses were crudely named after Guns N' Roses members. Japan got their own set of names. I can't recall off the top of my head, but like in the US version, we have Axel the Rose, Grizzly Slash, Squid Adler,
Duff
McWhalen. Like they're all named after Guns N' Roses member, which makes no sense. But for me, it's kind of fun to have that. It's just kind of it's dumb. And all the names don't make sense. They're pretty dumb.
You have to have the original now, because the Legacy Collection got rid of those, gave us the Japanese animal names.
It's right. Exactly. So if you go play on PS1, you'll get Guns N' Roses.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'll just get, the Japanese name. So it's a great game. I actually really like this one. I still really like this one. I think it's, it feels right around my top 5. Like I had a few others I put in my top 5, but I think this one, it's a really solid Mega Man X game. And it's definitely, I wish they continued with this versus what we got with X6. But at the same time, like you mentioned, it's probably they rushed. It was a cash grab. PS1's coming out, or excuse me, PS2's coming out. I did that again. PS2's coming out, so it's just they had no reason to really focus on PS1 and X6. All right, Deucy. So on number 4, this is another one we completely agreed on. This was Mega Man X4, released in 1997 for the Saturn and PS1.
Both at our number 4 spot.
Number 4 spot, nestled right there, which I think is the perfect spot for it.
Yeah. This one was obviously the first one of the next generation. And I had only rented X3 and X2, and it had been so long since I'd played those that I kind of forgot about the X series. But then I saw that you owned this one, and I decided to borrow it and try it, and I'm glad I did, man. Like right from the beginning, I think this is my favorite intro.
Yeah, it's so good.
I don't mind the story. I was like, this is when you could tell the difference between X and the original Mega Man's is when the stories were starting to feel more cohesive, more together.
Yeah, and more cinematic. Like there's even, there's more cutscenes and everything. Like they really did try. It's 2D, but they really tried to take advantage of Saturn and PS1.
Yeah, and I think I played through it twice because I wanted to do all of X's story and I wanted to do all of Zero's. Zero felt a lot quicker than the Zero from X3.
Yeah, his campaign I thought was easier too, just because his sword attacks are really strong.
Yeah,
and each boss gives him like a new move, and it's pretty cool. Like the Magma Dragoon, I thought was cool because he has like Akuma's necklace thing.
Oh yeah,
and then you get like his uppercut thing, and also Magma Dragoon throws out Hadouken. So it's very they had some Easter eggs in there, but yeah, Zero just felt awesome playing. This is what I wanted Zero to feel like in X3.
Exactly. Although I also like he gets a move that doesn't really correlate with the boss's weapon like X does. So I've never really understood the boss order for Zero. That one is more like just do what you want.
Yeah,
you're gonna be able to hack and slash your way through it.
Yeah, I don't know I can't remember the boss order. I know there is one, but it doesn't seem like you need it as much as X does because Zero is just that much more powerful. I don't really know if Zero has any negatives. Like I'm not sure if he's like detrimental compared to detrimental in any way compared to X.
I guess the only thing is you can't really get upgrades from the suit. You don't get suit
That's
parts.
true. Yeah, because Mega Man does get like a fully upgraded suit.
Yeah.
But this game was, it was the first one on PS1 like we talked about, and I do remember playing this because my sister's friend's brother had it. And he brought it over, and that's how I knew it existed because I don't recall seeing it in magazines. I can't recall really. So once I played it, the first thing you notice right away for me at least is the music. It's it's on a CD console now, so you could tell the fidelity is just way higher, and it sounds amazing. And then the graphics look really great for 2D. Like it looks much better than Super Nintendo. Like it there's no way it could run on there, right?
So what's funny is, like I said, there was so much time between playing any of the ones on Super and this one. This is how I remember the Super Nintendo one looking.
Exactly. This is how you smooth them out in your mind, but it's not really the case. Yeah. So it's a great game. It's really freaking difficult. Like I beaten this one, but I know it was through hell and fire because it was really difficult just with both campaigns.
This one I think I got at least to the last boss, but I could never beat him.
Yeah, it's pretty damn difficult, and I think they tuned it down in X5, which is just that's what it should be. So I think it fits right number 4, especially with the top 3 we have here, which I think I fully expected there to be a little bit of sway in the top 3. I kind of I think I expected them to shake out the way they did, but we can get on with it with
You can see that we didn't agree on any of them.
That's true, yeah. But I figured it was going to shake out that way just on that because I knew what perceptions we had of it. So number 3, disappointing to me, but also I guess appropriate for Deucy here. We have number 3. It's Mega Man 3, released in 1990 on the NES, and once again on PS1 in Japan in '99. I put this at number 2 on my list, and Deucy put it at number 3.
Yep. This was one of the ones I kind of changed at the last minute.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I dropped it down to at least 3rd because I was playing through it and I got to the Dr. Robot ones, the ones that are the Mega Man
Oh, the
2
Mega Man
bosses.
2 bosses, yes.
And
Yeah,
those,
they're really hard.
Those levels are ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I now see what a lot of modern reviewers are saying about it. They were just like, what is with this padding? Like, why are we extending the torture here with these? So it kind of dropped it down for me. But I do remember I didn't mind them that much way back when I first played it on Nintendo, borrowing it from you. In fact, I got all the way to the last boss way back in the day, and I think I beat it, but not on the original cartridge. I think I beat it on the first collection. Because I remember back on the first cartridge, I didn't know what weapon defeated the last boss, and it was top spin because, of course, it's the crappiest,
the dumbest,
weapon.
worst weapon. In the game.
The one you wouldn't even think to even try, and we didn't have internet back then to easily look it up, and I don't think any Nintendo Power or any guide said it, so I couldn't just figure it out, and I had to wait until years later.
Yeah, I did beat this as a kid a few times, and again, I played this with my friend Alex, who's older, so he knew kind of what to do, and I'm sure he read in a magazine or something, because I remember getting to the last boss and being like, what weapon is weak? It can't be top spin.
Yeah.
And we find out it is, and then I remember Alex is the one who beat it, like he was the one who got the last few hits on the last boss, because he was better than I was, obviously, so he knew kind of what to do, and he was like, top spin? That's what did him in? But this game has, I have so much fondness for this because it was the first Mega Man game I had. It's the only Mega Man game I had for a long time until X, because, I couldn't find the other ones, and we all just borrowed them from each other. And for me, I think the music in here, I always struggle with this because 2 is always regarded as like having the best music, but I think 3 is the one that has really amazing music that actually has a little bit more depth because, it was a year later, so they actually do a lot more with what they learned for the sound chip.
I was going to say, it has a little better range. It doesn't have just fast-paced rock. It has some
That's true.
slower jams.
It's got more variety, yeah.
This one, I do enjoy that it introduced a lot of the mainstays like the slide and Rush. The cute puppy.
Yeah, the cute robotic puppy. Yeah. So this was an easy choice to put at number 2 for me. There's really nothing else I would have put at number 2. There's Mega Man 2, of course, but I can't, I put that a little bit lower for that reason, because I don't have as much fondness for it, even though I do love it. It's just Mega Man 3 just holds that special place in my heart where I owned it, and that was the only thing I played for the longest time.
I honestly thought this was going to be your number 1.
Really?
But your number 1, I was like, okay, it's a coin
Yeah, you're
flip.
like, all right, it makes sense.
It's a coin flip.
Yeah. So we'll get on with our number 2. We're winding down here. Number 2, Mega Man 2, released in 1988 on the NES.
Boo! I need a recount.
Yeah, there's only 2 of us. We're going to recount it again and be here in perpetuity. So it released in, once again, 99 in Japan on PS1, 1988 on the NES. I put this at number 3.
Yeah.
And Deucy,
you dragged it down.
I dragged it down. Not even intentionally, just the way it panned out with my top 3.
Yep.
And Deucy, of course, I knew this was going to put this at number 1.
You knew this from the day we mentioned.
I knew the day you mentioned this episode. I was like, well, I already know he's going to put it at number 1.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling he's not sure 100% when I put it at number 1 for me.
Yeah, and I mean, I can't say too much more about this. It's just my favorite Mega Man ever. Nothing will top it, and I can breeze right through it. It was definitely the first one I beat out of all of the whole series. The music is scorched into my brain. Like,
it's iconic.
I will
sure. There's no way you can dispute that.
I will get the song stuck in my head randomly at work.
Yeah.
And I can't say anything else about it. It is number 1 for a reason, and that's it.
Yeah, I would say out of the earlier Mega Man games, meaning 1 through 6, this is probably the quintessential Mega Man game that is always regarded as the best by a lot of people. I think some people make a case for 3 as being the best, but it's also interesting because they'll totally dismiss 5 and 6 and what they did. And I think it's just, it really does feel like that those games just got kind of by the wayside by, nature of being late releases or whatever else, or hard to find.
It's a shame because you look at some of the reviews for 5 and 6 and they're like, oh, it's more of the same. And it's like, yeah, that's what Mega Man's been.
That's what I want.
Yeah.
Because when we do something different, we get Mega Man X7.
Exactly.
So with Mega Man 2, it's, 3 for me is even a hard part to put it. Like, if we didn't include one game that's out of number 1, it would have been, Mega Man 2 would have been probably 2, right?
Yeah.
It would have made the most sense if we just did like a rank of Mega Man 1 through 6 or something.
And then we would have had a tie.
And then, yeah.
Our 1 and 2 would have been flip-flopped.
So, there's nothing bad to say about Mega Man 2. It absolutely is worth the praise. I love the game in and out. I could play through it just the same. It's just, there's 2 other games that I like a lot more. And one of them we're going to talk about soon enough. So I guess this is a great way to bring it up now. But we're at our number 1, Deucy. And the number 1 game we've definitively ranked for the Mega Man series is 1994's Mega Man X on the Super Nintendo.
It's fitting that it was our first episode of the podcast.
It was, and I put this at number 1. This was the easiest choice I can make when I put this list together. It was number 1, and you put this at number 2.
Yeah, it almost didn't go there.
Really?
Yeah, I had it at 4 at one point.
Oh, wow.
I had it at 3 because growing up with it, I always got stuck at that same part, and I never beat it.
Which is a fair point. Yeah, it's a fair reason to put it lower on your list if you're like, I didn't even beat the damn thing. Yeah.
Never could beat it. Even to this day, I think I've only gotten to Sigma, but I haven't beaten him yet. Mm-hmm. But it got bumped up because Mega Man 3 has fallen a little bit for me. Mm-hmm. And it is worthy of these top spots. It is the best Mega Man X. And it was a great new step in the right direction for the Mega Man series.
Yeah, this was the evolution that you would expect from going from Nintendo to Super Nintendo. There's more moves. The graphics are, much better. The music is incredible. There's really nothing bad I can pinpoint to this game. I'm sure if there's a lot of people who have come up with things, but from my perspective, there's nothing like this is probably my favorite Mega Man game of all time. There's nothing else that comes close to it. I can play through it, in a couple hours, anytime. I'll just dive in and go through all the bosses. I played them a billion times. Everything feels great about this game, and I love every single thing about this game. It's just one of my favorite Super Nintendo games. It's one of my favorite, Mega Man games, like I said. And it was no other choice. Like when we did this list and we included X, it's like, well, I already know it's going to be at number 1. It's really just going to be what else is going to be in the middle.
Yeah, how does everything else fall?
Yeah, right. Like the top 3 is pretty locked for me. Like I would say, like Mega Man 1 or Mega Man 2, 3, and X. Those are definitely the top echelon for Mega Man games.
Yeah.
I think they're pretty fair, at least for the X series and Mega Man. And it's just, you could intersperse any of them or change the spots on any of them at any time, I think. But Mega Man X, it's just top of the game for me. Like that's just peak Mega Man. All right, Deucy. Well, I think that wraps up our list at this point. Do we have any final thoughts on the Mega Man series? Any lasting impressions? Any second guessing you might have at this point in time?
Oh, I mean, my 6, 5, and 4, which were mid pack, like 7, 8, 9. Those are going to constantly swap for me. And I think even my top, Mega Man 3 and Mega Man X might go back and forth. I'm just hoping that we get another X in the series. Bring out, I've heard the faintest of rumors that there could be an X9 somewhere.
I've heard those rumors for years, it seems like.
Yeah, and it would be great if they could do something like Mega Man 9 did. Go back to, if not Super Nintendo, go back to the PS1 graphics and just give us a side scroller, or do what Mega Man 11 did, give us somewhat modern graphics, but keep it 2D.
Yeah, I wish they would go back to some sprite-based kind of game. Like, there's a lot of modern takes on those games. Like, we talked about like Moon Rider on PS4.
Yeah.
Like all those throwback kind of games that
Even
look like from 16
Gravity
areas.
Crush?
Yeah, Gravity Circuit. Gravity Circuit. Like all those games where they are rooted in those 16-bit aesthetics, but they play like modern games.
The Messenger,
like all those games, they're all inspired by Mega Man or Mega Man X in some way, right? Those were influenced by these games that we just talked about. So it would make perfect sense if Capcom did sort of, finally get off their asses and make a proper new Mega Man game, an X game. Because we have Mega Man 11, which is fantastic, but you're right, we need an X game. Especially after the bad taste we left with X7 and X8, right?
Yeah.
We need some sort of redemption after those.
Like 7 and 8 of Mega Man gave us a bad taste, and they totally redeemed it with 9.
Exactly.
So.
Like, here's the we're sorry game.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that does it for our list. We ranked 19 games. This is our definitive list. If any of you out there who are listening want to dispute us or perhaps give us your memories or your ranks, you can find us on Instagram at Legion Gaming Podcast. And of course, you can email us at legiongamingpod@gmail.com.
Please, reach out and maybe break some of our ties.
Yeah, that's right. Maybe break some. Tell us why they shouldn't be tied. Tell us why you think Mega Man X7 should be higher. I don't think you're right.
Yeah, we won't put it higher.
Yeah. Any final words, Deucy, before we let everyone get back to their Mega Man collections?
Just, press start to continue.
All right. Thank you, everybody.